So how exactly do we trust in God? How does the Christian trust in God and God's righteousness and God's love and God's compassion when you don't feel it? You don't even see it in your life. If you trust in someone, anyone, you feel comfortable. There's a comfort zone that's built on trust. Being completely open and honest with someone you trust. You've got to be that way with God. We've got to be open and honest because we trust God. If we don't trust God enough to be open and honest with Him, we need to work on our relationship with God. But God is more reliable than any human friend. I will let you down. If I haven't already let you down, I guarantee you I will let you down because I am a fallible human being. And whoever your closest friend is will let you down at some point. All you have to do is be married for a few years. You'll experience some sort of letdown in your spouse. Rock, don't look. You haven't been married long enough. You'll experience that, but God does not let you down. Regardless of what your spouse may or may not do, regardless of what your friend may or may not do, God is more reliable than any human being. Open your heart. When you trust in God, you're opening your heart, you're opening your soul to Him. David did exactly that, and he wrote most of the book of Psalms. Most of the book of Psalms is an opening of David's heart to God. Now, what I find incredible is David was also willing to open his heart through the book of Psalms to us. And I believe that these Psalms were written for our benefit, so that we could see inside the soul of the man who experienced every emotion that we experience and trusted in God even when it didn't look like there was anything to trust in. Look at Psalm 55 for an example. Psalm 55 and verse 1. This is a song. It's written by David. He says, "Give ear to my prayer, O God, and hide not yourself from my plea for mercy." Now, David wouldn't be saying this if things were going well in his life. David says, "Attend to me and answer me. I am restless in my complaint, and I moan because of the noise of my enemy, because of the oppression of the wicked, for they drop trouble upon me, and in anger they bear a grudge against me. My heart is in anguish within me. The terrors of death have fallen upon me. Fear and trembling come upon me, and horror overwhelms me." We could go on down through the rest of this psalm, and we could experience the emotions as David is writing them. But don't let your emotions rule your life. David, in his emotions, he pours them out to God. And he's turning them over to God. He's turning the situation in Psalm 55. He's turning the situation over to God. Notice he wants to escape this darkness in his life, this troubled time. In verse 6 he says, "And I say, oh, that I had wings like a dove, I would fly away and be at rest. Yes, I would wander far away. I would lodge in the wilderness, Selah. I would hurry and find a shelter from the raging wind and tempest." Peter, in his first letter, talks about allowing our emotions to overcome us in our lives. Again, sometimes there are different ways in which we deal with emotions. There are certainly medical advances that could be had. But quite frankly, what Peter says right here in 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 7, he says, humble yourselves, verse 6, humble yourselves therefore under the mighty hand of God, so that at the proper time he may exalt you, casting all your anxieties on him because he cares for you. Nothing we face is too great for God. Nothing we endure is too large for him to carry. We need to be aware of what's lurking in our lives. Life can be an ugly mess because of sin. But God is there. Trust. To trust God means to do God's will even when we might be asking ourselves why. Why do I do this? What's the point? Why do I believe in Christ? My life's a wreck. It's putting faith in God's strength and not in our strength. Remember, we're just human beings. We don't control anything. God's strength we put faith in. Faith is belief in things not seen. Paul, in his letter to the Philippian Christians in Philippians chapter 4 and in verse 7, I believe this is a passage that Peter came up with for me in this lesson. Philippians chapter 4 and in verse 7, and the peace of God, which passes all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. But he doesn't stop there. Paul says, finally, brothers, and this, I believe, is how we escape those dark places. And I realize that when someone's in a dark place, this may be nearly impossible or seem nearly impossible. But Paul says, finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. So many times psychologists will tell us it's mind over matter. But God said so first. Paul says, think about these things. Put them at the forefront of your mind. What you have learned and received and heard in me, practice these things, and the peace of God will be with you.